Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the Flight Sim community. This is Viper Shark 95, and today we're here, part 16 of 50 here today, of the 50 states and 50 streams. And today we're here in beautiful Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. We're just outside of Cedarville. We're right in the background of the Great Smokies National Park. So, guys, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you have a good weekend. And today we're going to be here doing some flight simming here in Tennessee. So this is going to be our only stream this week, as I'll be heading out of town tomorrow. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I decided to do the 50 states and 50 streams here, so we can get one of these series done here today. So we're going to be in Tennessee today, and we're going to do some GA flying around the area. So before we get started, I do want to say hello in the chat. See all the lurkers here too. Welcome on in. So today's flight plan, we're here at Gallenberg Pigeon Forge Airport. Kilo Golf, Kilo Tango. Here's our nav map for today. Okay, my slides work. Probably need to turn on my low demo. I'm gonna have to restart the program. Ah, there she goes. Okay, guys. So here's our nav map for today. We're in beautiful Tennessee. So we'll start here at Cedarville at Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge. From there, we'll head to eastern Tennessee's largest city, Knoxville, home to the University of Tennessee Volunteers. Then from there, we'll head and we'll make our first stop here at Schiff Airport, Tango November 880. Then our second leg is going to be a bit longer, but we're going to fly from there. We're going to enter into the capital and largest city in Tennessee, Nashville. We have the Grand Ole Opry. Then we'll fly over downtown Tennessee, check out downtown, get plenty of pictures here. And then once we do that, we're going to go ahead and head our way over River Regional Airport. Kilo Papa Victor Echo. And finally, from there, we'll head our way over to the city of Memphis. We'll head to Jackson. We're heading our way over to Memphis, Tennessee, home of Elvis, the blues, and barbecue. We'll fly over Memphis, downtown. We'll fly around the downtown skyline, check out some of the most famous areas in the city, including the Memphis Pyramid, FedEx Forum, and of course, no trip to Memphis is ever complete without visiting Graceland. So, and then we'll stop at Memphis International, the world's premier cargo hub here in Memphis. Yeah, that's going to be today's flight plan here today. Pretty simple flight. And we'll get this rolling. Our plan for this this afternoon stream will be, of course, the one, the only, the iconic Douglas DC-3. Built by the Douglas Aircraft Company. They built over 1,000 of these DC-3s built for domestic use, but many more of them were built for military use as the C-7 Skytrain. This plane has had a long history that's still going even today. Almost 90 years after this thing was built. But I mean, the DC-3 can just do it all. It can carry cargo, it can carry passengers, it can carry military troops. We could put skis on this. It can take off from a lot of different places. I mean, it's a Douglas DC-3. There's almost nothing this plane can't do. I can list all the things it can't do on one hand. So, yeah, it's an incredible piece of machinery. That's for sure. So we're in Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge Airport, Kilo Golf, Kilo Tango. This county-owned public use municipal airport is in Sevier County. It's north of the cities of Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, and it's mainly used for general aviation. It's also home to the Tennessee Museum of Aviation, also here too. It contains the history of aviation in the state of Tennessee, with a couple of aircraft on display, including the Grumman Albatross, a Republic P-470 Thunderbolt, a replica of a P-51 Mustang, and a Douglas AH-1 Skyraider. So that's what they got here. Of course, if you all are aware about this area, Pigeon Forge and all that, well, that's because Pigeon Forge is one of Tennessee's most popular tourist destinations. And it especially grew with Dolly Parton and with Dollywood. And it's a place I've been to a lot, so there's that too. Let's go ahead and get this Douglas DC started. Oh, ground power will be. There you go. So we're about to go on our way out. We're going to be taking off here at runway. We're going to be taking off here at runway 28. 28 will be taking off here today in Kerrville. First stop is going to be at Knoxville, Tennessee. Heading 294. Look at the DC-3, man. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? We're gonna be flying our way over to Knoxville first. Our first city we'll be flying over today is the city of Knoxville, Tennessee. Actually, it's the largest city in East Tennessee, population 190,000 people, which is the third most populous city after Nashville and Memphis. Its metro area is around 879,000 people. It was first settled in 1786, and it was the first capital of the state. However, the city struggled with geographic isolation throughout the 19th century, and that lasted until the railroad happened. The city was also divided over succession during the American Civil War for both the Confederate and Union armies. After the war, it grew rapidly as a major wholesaling and manufacturing center. It stagnated after the manufacturing sector collapsed in 1920 during the Great Depression. However, what reinvigorated the city was when it hosted the 1982 World Fair. And as a result, Knoxville has continued to grow ever since. The city is most famous for being the home of being the flagship campus of the University of Tennessee, the Volunteers, which are the most popular team in the state of Tennessee. It's also home to the headquarters of the Tennessee Valley Authority, Tennessee Supreme Court courthouse for the region, the corporate headquarters of several national companies. It's one of the gateways to Great Smoky Mountains National Park here in Tennessee. Knoxville is definitely known for being involved a lot in terms of and stuff. College sports are immensely popular here. Most notably, their football team, their football programs, and their two basketball programs. The men's and the vastly more successful women's team. The men's team, the football team is home to several iconic players for college football. Most notably, Peyton Manning played ball here in Tennessee, University of Tennessee. They produced legends like Peyton Manning and Reggie White. And then, of course, the basketball teams, the men's team, had players like Allen Houston and Bernard King. But that's nothing compared to the women's team, which was the most successful in all of Tennessee sports. As Volunteers are the women's team is by far the most successful team here in the state, and a lot of it's led by Pat Summitt, one of the most legendary college basketball coaches of all time, who won over 1,000 games and won 8 national championships. It produced many great players like Candace Parker was one of the most notable ones, but also a lot more. They also have a strong baseball program that's went to the College World Series 7 times, and even had a Hall of Fame baseball player in Todd Hilton play college. Pretty cool stuff. pretty cool stuff. Knoxville, hey, Kata, good to see you, Kata. Definitely check out Kata's streams here on Twitch. Really cool with general aviation such. Really enjoy her work and with general aviation. And we're here in the volunteer state, Tennessee. Gonna do some flying here in Tennessee. I was tempted to take the downtown airport. Right here. I was tempted. I wanted to go out of Gatlinburg. Since this is an area I've been to quite a few times during my real life. So we're about to head into beautiful Knoxville. Also, a fun fact about Knoxville as well is it's home to one of the world's largest stadiums. Actually, it's also here in Knoxville, and that's Neyland Stadium. It's been college football has been played here in Neyland since 1921. It's over 100 years old. It's the sixth largest stadium in the country, funnily enough. At one point, the capacity was 102,000. However, the record attendance for this, get this, is a whopping 109,000 people in 2004, taking on their longtime SEC rival Florida. Yeah, here's Neyland Stadium below. Big old Neyland, and here's the entire University of Tennessee campus around here. Here's downtown Knoxville. Sadly, it has no photogrammetry. Really can't take any images of Knoxville. Yeah, here's Knoxville. A lot of people like to use, and here's the Great Smokies in the distance. If you ever get a chance to visit Tennessee, definitely check out the Smokies. It is the most visited national park in the country by a long mile, and we'll talk about that national park when we do our national park series starting on those Sundays. Yeah, this is the Douglas DC-3. Yeah, it's an old bird. I used to take this thing around the world, by the way. Back in MSFS 2020, one of my streams I did was literally an around the world trip with the Douglas DC-3. It was really cool. It was a 77-year-old DC-3 owned by Britling. We had to fly around the world from Geneva, round trip from Geneva. Round trip through Geneva, with one final stop at Sion Airport. But we went through in a 77-year-old DC. That was such a great series, and you can actually check out the VOD for it. Estimation point YT, it's the YouTube. And you can check it out from there. You can check out the VOD from the channel, and this is also where I'm going to put all my major series on for my VOD. So you're definitely more than welcome to check out the series. So, of course, we got to talk about the state of Tennessee, the volunteer state after Kentucky, of course. So, what about Tennessee that is so special? Well, Tennessee is actually one of the two states that has the most bordering around the state. What's really cool about Tennessee is that Tennessee was actually the 36th largest land state by area, and it's the 15th most populous with a population of 7.22 million, but that's continuing to grow. In U.S. states, Tennessee is one of the most rapidly growing states in the country, and it's just only below Arizona. I think Tennessee could definitely go through Arizona. It could definitely catch up there. But it's definitely a growing U.S. state. Tennessee is surrounded by 8 different states: Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Missouri all border Tennessee. And it's also got a diverse terrain from Appalachia, upland south, and south, with various mountain ranges, plateaus, waterfalls, and more. But what really grew Tennessee, though, is its culture was strong too. Especially the 20th century is where Tennessee really grew, with rich cultural heritages like healthcare, music, finance, automobiles, and more. Especially with its music heritage. Country, blues, rock and roll, soul, and gospel put Tennessee on the map for music. Now, as for why it's called the Volunteer State, well, that's because we gave Tennessee its volunteer nickname was its tradition of military service. Gave it its famous nickname. So to trace the history of Tennessee, you need to go back to the indigenous era, with the first inhabitants of the state coming around were Palo Indians and around 12,000 years ago. That's where they ultimately came from. And during the last glacial period, archaeologists have discovered that the Tennessee Valley has been heavily populated by hunter-gatherers, which, because this region was rich with game animals like mastodons. And there have been multiple different periods of cultural phases from 8000 BC to 1600 AD. The archaic domesticated dogs. The woodland period had many plants like squash, gourds, corn, and later generations had mounds and civilization to mark chieftain. Spanish conquistadors who explored the region in the 16th century encountered some of the native peoples, including the Muskogee Creek, Yuchi, and Shawnee people. However, by the 18th century, most natives of Tennessee had disappeared due to diseases. However, one of the most notable tribes that appeared in Tennessee was the Cherokee. They were migrating to eastern Tennessee from what was now Virginia during the 17th century to escape expanding European settlement and disease. And they forced the Creek, Yuchi, and Shawnee out of the state during the 18th century. The Chickasaw remained controlled in West Tennessee, while the Cherokee grew a lot of East Tennessee. Of course, we all know about Cherokee and their story from the Trail of Tears. Of course, the first recorded European expeditions into Tennessee were led by Spanish explorers Hernando de Soto, 1540-1441, Tristan de Luna in 1559, and Juan Pardo in 1566-67. In 1673, English fur trader Abraham Woods sent an expedition from the colony of Virginia to the Overhill Cherokee Territory, northeast Tennessee. And in that same year, a French expedition led by missionary Jacques Marquette and Louis Jolliet explored the Mississippi, and they were the first Europeans to map the Mississippi Valley. There were quite a few expeditions into Tennessee because, well, again, a lot of this region was western Virginia. Made it quite popular with a lot of that as well. But of course, modern Tennessee really starts in the 1750s, 1760s, with Longhurst from Virginia explored much of east and middle Tennessee, as well as settlers from South Carolina built on the Little Tennessee River, and led to conflict between the Cherokee and British. After the end of the French-Indian War, Britain issued the Royal Proclamation in 1763, which forbade settlements west of the Appalachian to mitigate conflict with the natives. Of course, that did not stop migrations to this area at all, as migration was still going to happen. Of course, with the Rarick Revolutionary War, there were several set of treaties Cherokee to sell land, and eventually one of those was to sell land for the Transylvania colony, which included Tennessee north of the Cumberland River, and 3 counties of Washington District broke off in 1784 to form the state of Franklin. However, that failed. The state of Franklin failed, and eventually they needed more counties. Eventually, though, the area from North Carolina ceded formed the Southwest Territory, and eventually the area kind of grew more and more during the 1790s, which was eventually held in 1793, just 3 years later, and then an additional 3 more years, Tennessee was admitted 16th state of the Union. Tennessee was chosen. Of course, between the 1790s and 1820s, additional land cessions were negotiated with the Cherokee tribe, which established national government based on the U.S. Constitution. In 1880, Jackson, Kentucky Governor Isaac Shelby reached an agreement with the Chickasaw to sell the land west between the Mississippi and Tennessee rivers, which became known as the Jackson Purchase. And of course, all this led 20 years later to one of the most infamous events in American history, when U.S. troops forcibly removed thousands of Cherokee and their slaves from their home from southeastern Tennessee and forced them to march to the Indian Territory in Oklahoma, known as the Trail of Tears. And we'll talk plenty about the Trail of Tears when we cover the Trail of Tears Natural Historic Trail. We'll talk all about that. As settlers pushed west of the Cumberland Plateau, slavery-based carrying economy took hold of those regions, mainly with cotton and textiles. And he also cultivated top. However, East Tennessee geography did not allow for plantation. So in that region, slavery became incredibly rare and led to strong abolition movement. On the onset of the Civil War, most Middle and Western Tennessee's favored preserve their slavery-based economies. However, many Tennesseans are skeptical of secession. However, East Tennessee, remained in the state, in the Union, because of that strong abolitionist history. Of course, Tennessee did secede from the Union. On June 8th. And of course, Tennessee became a battleground for a lot of the Civil War, particularly that of the Chattanooga campaign. Of course, in 1862, USS Grant captured Tennessee and Cumberland Rivers during the battles of Fort Henry and Fort Donelson. Then Grant proceeded south to Pittsburgh Landing and held off a Confederate counterattack at Shiloh, April, which was at the time the bloodiest battle of the war. The Battle of Shiloh was a very bloody warfare. Of course, Tennessee was involved in multiple offenses during the war. Then, of course, they attacked Middle Tennessee, which culminated in Rosecrans' army of the Cumberland routing the Confederate General Braxton Bragg's, Jones River, another close engagement. Eventually, the Confederates were forced to retreat into Chattanooga, and of course, I've been to this, the Chattanooga campaign, which the Confederates tried to hold off, besieged the Army of Cumberland, but thanks to the armies of the Tennessee from the Unions, the Confederates were driven off Chattanooga and out of Lookout Mountain and Missionary Ridge in 1803. Of course, all this eventually led to all of Tennessee being captured in 1864. Of course, the Civil War ended. However, Tennessee there were some issues in Tennessee, mainly with cholera after the Civil War, and yellow fever devastated the Nashville area, and the yellow fever devastated Memphis. Of course, because the Tennessee ratified the 14th Amendment before amendment to the Union, Tennessee was spared from having military governance. However, still, even afterwards, agriculture still dominated the economy for the rest of the 19th century as a result. Of course, the 20th century here in Tennessee was that due to racial segregation stuff, many black Tennesseans, fled to industrial cities in the Northeast and Midwest during the Great Migration. During the Depression, much of Tennessee was severely impoverished, even by national standards, which is why FDR did a lot of his New Deals for the Tennessee Valley Authority. To provide electricity, jobs, blood control, waterway through the state throughout the 1940s, and they helped build Tennessee to be a more modern state. During World War II, East Tennessee was actually chosen to production for weapon-grade fissile enriched uranium, part of the Manhattan Project, build the first atomic bombs. And Oak Ridge was mainly built just for that. And we know Tennessee was part of that as well. Of course, the mid half of the century happened. We know the integration of schools occurred in 1955, where Oak Ridge High School became the first school in Tennessee to be integrated. The nearby Clinton High School was integrated as well. Then, of course, Tennessee legislator, we have the Baker v. Carr, which actually was coming from Tennessee itself, which challenged the rule bias and established the principle of one man, one vote. And then in 1982, Knoxville hosted the World's Fair, which would end up being one of the most successful recent World Fairs to held in the United States. Of course, nowadays, Tennessee has been developing more as a modern state over the past year or so. Well, that leaves us to the history of Tennessee. So I hope you guys learned a lot about the history of Tennessee, of course. This is a beautiful area, by the way. A lot of great areas in Tennessee that's worth flying over. We're doing pretty good here. So guys, I think I have some plans coming up for you guys on when we come back. So vacation wise, I'm gonna be in the Caribbean this I'm gonna be heading to Nashville. I'm gonna be heading to Fort Lauderdale. So we got a 10-day cruise coming up for me with me, my parents, and my brother and his girlfriend. This is a vacation for us. We get to visit several Caribbean places we never got a chance to visit before. Mm. But we're going to be going from Fort Lauderdale, and we're going to sail our way to. From Fort Lauderdale, you're going to go to Princess Cape, Bahamas. Then we have a day at sea. We're going to go to St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. That'll be my second time visiting there. Then we're going to visit a new place. Dominica's brand new. Day 6 is going to be Martinique in the island of Guadeloupe. Day 7, St. Kitts. Day 8, Antigua. And then we're going to head back to Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, it's going to be a nice 10-day trip. It's going to be really relaxing. And hey, we need to get away from the cold and the snow. Definitely looking forward to that here as well. Definitely looking forward to that as well. So I think when we get back on March 12th, I'm gonna actually do a longer stream. So we're gonna start at 1400. If you guys don't mind, if I start a little early on the Wednesday we come back, and I wanted to do a special stream in the Cessna 172. And I wanted to show you this flight plan. So I'm going to take the Cessna 172, and what I want to do is fly over England for this one. I want to do one with the Cessna 172, and we explore all the Premier League venues for the English Premier League. So I came up with this flight plan, and we're going to fly over all of it. I want to do it when we get back. But it's going to be visiting all these teams, starting from AFC Bournemouth, and we're going to head our way over to all the way to Northern England in Newcastle. But we'll check out some of the most famous sporting clubs in the world. Some of these include, of course, legendary grounds and venues like Stamford Bridge, the brand new Tottenham Hotspur, Emirates Stadium, to other historic venues, including Villa Park, Bournemouth Stadium in Birmingham and Wolverhampton. And of course, you can't forget about Liverpool and Manchester between Goodison Park, Anfield, Old Trafford, Etihad Stadium in Man City, and then of course with Newcastle United. But that's what we're going to be doing on the Wednesday we get back. It's going to be a bit of a longer stream, but I'll probably create notes for each of this and talk briefly about some of the teams and stuff. But I really do want to do something different for Wednesday. I just want to do something a little special for that Wednesday when we get back. When I get back home. So I wanted to do something a little special when we get back home to the States. And of course, on the week we get back, on Friday, we'll be covering the U.S. state of Ohio, which of course the Buckeye State, Ohio. We'll fly from Cincinnati to Cleveland, visiting Dayton, Columbus, and Akron, Canton, and Akron. And then on that Sunday will be the U.S. state of Louisiana from Shreveport to New Orleans. We're going to get that ready too for you guys. So I thought this would be a great way to catch up and nearly finish part 2 the next week afterward, which will be Mississippi and Illinois. And it won't be long until we start flying in the western states, which will technically be the more scenic of the states. We're going to have to do the eastern half of the states first. So that's what we're going to be doing here as well. Beautiful area here, this part of Tennessee. Of course, once we land, we'll talk a bit about Tennessee's geography for a bit. I hope you guys are enjoying this. This has been a lot of fun. We're about to land at Tango November 80 will be our second stop at Schiff Airport. Only 1,700 feet, so an interesting landing. Here we go, guys. First land of the day here coming. Here we go, guys. If you guys want to know the route for today, here's the exclamation point route. This is where we're going to be going today. Also, by the way, the Premier League's going to be on today. I know Everton's playing today. We gotta watch the Toppies. They're playing Brentford today, the Bees. Pretty interesting team. Brentford's not doing too bad this year. Actually, Brentford's doing pretty decent. 11th in the Premier League. They're definitely pretty good this year. I mean, they're above Spurs and Man U. Should be a good game. And of course, last night Southampton got destroyed. They're going to be relegated for sure. Nice win for Chelsea. That puts them above Man City and all that. Chelsea's doing pretty good. Crystal Palace beat Aston Villa. They drubbed them 4-1 for Aston Villa. Brighton Albion doing pretty good. 8th. Bournemouth's having a good year too. And then Fulham beat Wolverhampton. Yeah, this year has been very surprising with the teams this year in the Premier League. I mean, I'm still new with the whole Premier League stuff, by the way. But, I mean, to be fair, these are not clubs I usually expect to see competing in the Premier League. Usually, normally, historically, has been always the bigger clubs. Here's our airport. I think I'll come. It's just very unexpected this season in the Premier League. I mean, Nottingham Forest, 3rd. To be fair, they've probably made a lot of good signings, but still. But Nottingham Forest above traditional powers Chelsea and Man City. Bournemouth and Brighton and Fulham in the top 10 above Spurs and Man U. I mean, it's sad even Everton, usually historically been mid-table, above Manchester United. Ugh. Yeah, Manchester United needs a whole rebuild. I can't even imagine the protest in Manchester if United somehow gets relegated next season. That would be embarrassing, to say the least. That would be really, really embarrassing. Outside of Everton today, we also have Manchester United Ipswich, Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal. That's going to be a good match. Tottenham Man City, Liverpool Newcastle are all games played today. Oh, that's a tough land. Oh, whoa, I did not ask to shut down the plane. I meant to keep the plane on, not shut down. I wish I could blizzard in Egypt. We're going to stay here for a bit. We're going to take a bit of a break. If you guys want to join on in or want to get a drink or something, I'll be waiting here. So in terms of this year, it's likely to be promoted this year. Looks like Leeds United's league, they're absolutely dominating the Leeds and Sheffield United are the top two at the EFL Championships. So they win, um, they're going to be promoted into the to the Premier League. So it's looking like to be Leeds, Sheffield, and Burnley to the Premier League next season, which is definitely pretty interesting to talk about. So they're going to replace likely Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton. Is pretty cool. The relegation system. Wish U.S. soccer could have something like that with the USL. Imagine Louisville City and all that. That would be very interesting. So we're going to go ahead and prepare to take off for our second leg in Tennessee. We're going to head to Nashville, Tennessee, Music City. Let's go ahead and park. And they say this, and they say a DC-3 can't do stall. That's what the people say. Oh, it can't do stall. Yes, this plane was not afraid to take off from unpaved airfield. So we'll be heading our way over to Tennessee. Try and keep the elevation pretty comfortable. Yes, I still love the DC-3 in this. Even if it isn't working the best, I still like working with this plane. It's not often you get to fly with a piece of authentic history. So let's talk about Tennessee's geography for a bit as we approach our way over to beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. Talk a little bit about Tennessee's geography. We fly over. So, geographically speaking, about Tennessee, Tennessee's geography is most of the state's upland south and the eastern third parts Appalachia. Tennessee covers 42,143 square miles, which makes it the 16th smallest state land area. Well, it is very diverse in terms of its geography and stuff. And there's three legal divisions. You have East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and West Tennessee. Eastern boundary follows the high crest of the Blue Ridge Mountains, with the Mississippi River forming the western boundary. And there are six principal physiographic provinces here in the state. And they're part of three larger regions. You have the east, which is the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Ridge and Valley Appalachians, and the Cumberland Plateau, all part of the Appalachian Mountains. And you have the Highland Rim and National Basin, part of the interior lower plateaus of the interior plains, in the eastern Gulf coastal plain in the west. Other regions include the southern tip of the Cumberland Mountains, the West Tennessee Valley, and in the Mississippi Plain. The state's highest point and the third highest point in eastern North America is the Wall at 6,643 feet. The lowest point is the Mississippi River in Memphis. You wouldn't believe this, but Tennessee has the most caves in the country with more than 10,000 documented, which is pretty cool to think about. In terms of its topography as well, thinking about that, the southern West Blue Ridge Mountains lie within the eastern edge, mainly, most famously, the Great Smoky Mountains, Bald Mountains, Yanaka Mountains, and more. And these are some of the highest elevations in eastern North America. Of course, you gotta talk about the Great Smokies National Park. You also have the Cumberland Plateau west of the Tennessee Valley, and it forms the Appalachian Plateau, Cumberland Mountains. You have the Highland Rim, the West Tennessee Valley. Of course, ecologically speaking, Tennessee's within a deciduous forest biome known as Eastern Deciduous Forest, and there's 8 different ecoregions: Ridge and Valley, Central Appalachian, Southwest Appalachian, Interior Low Plateau, Southeastern Plain, Mississippi Valley Lowest Plains, and Mississippi Alluvial Plain regions. It is by far the most biodiverse inland state. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park being the most biodiverse national park in the country. As a result, Tennessee is home to 340 species of birds, 325 freshwater species, 9 mammals, 77 amphibian, and 61 reptile species. Some of the common mammals found here: the white-tailed deer, red and gray foxes, coyotes, raccoons, opossums, wild turkeys, rabbits, and squirrels. In the eastern half, you can find black bears, and it has the third highest number of amphibious species, most notably with the Great Smoky Mountains home to the most salamander species. As a result, Tennessee is extremely biodiverse among the of the lower 48. And yeah, I forgot to change this. And here's everything I was talking about. So pretty cool stuff. And then finally, of course, forest covered mainly with oak hickory, as well as oak pine cove hardwood forest in the eastern. In terms of climate, most of Tennessee has a humid subtropical climate, with the exception of some of the higher elevations in the Appalachians, which are generally cooler mountain temperature or humid continental. Generally, the state has hot summers with mild, cool winters with generous precipitation through the year. The highest monthly precipitation occurs between December and April, and the driest are August to October. The state receives an annual average of 50 inches of precipitation annually. While Tennessee is far enough from the coast to have direct impact from hurricane, its location makes it susceptible to remnants of tropical cyclones. It makes significant rainfall here in the state. It's happened plenty of times with Tennessee, most recently with Asheville last year. That is something to consider. What a beautiful day out here in the volunteer state. you're all enjoying this. This has been a great stream, guys. I appreciate you all coming here on this Wednesday. I know I mainly stream these series on Fridays and Sundays, but with this being the only stream of the week, I wanted to actually get some of it done. In terms of other sports, the NBA as well for college basketball, the NBA professional basketball, the Pacers just lost for the first time in a while, but I mean they're still comfortably in top 5 of the Eastern Conference. Yeah, look out for the Detroit Pistons though. They went all the way to the 6th seed Eastern Conference. Yeah, the Pistons could be a playoff team this year, which is hard to believe. They've been back for so long. Didn't think they would ever be a playoff team. Here they are. And in the West, the Thunder, the East is dominated by Cleveland and Boston. Not surprising. And in the West, it's all Oklahoma City Thunder. Though the Warriors are picking things up with Jimmy Butler. And then for college basketball as well, Louisville's doing pretty good as well. Nice win last night against Virginia Tech. Louisville's only got a couple more games left in the ACC. But yes, 15-2 in conference. 6 straight wins. They're now number 19 polls. I think they're only going to continue to get up a bit. But yeah, that's the last road game of the season. They got a pretty close game, but hey, it's a win. A win's a win. The rest of the games are all winnable. Getting to get back in the season on a 9-game win streak. What a season for Louisville basketball. What a great year. And Louisville's 5-1 baseball this year too. 4-game win streak in baseball. The Cards baseball off to a good start. They beat Texas during the college showdown. Lost to Oklahoma State. Both really good teams for baseball. Beat Arizona, another ranked team. Beat both ranked opponents during that showdown, which was great. And then beat Western Michigan. They're going to face Butler today, 3 p.m. Should be a good matchup. Should be a good one for Louisville baseball. Should be a good matchup for Louisville baseball. The MLS did start this season. I'll mainly keep an eye on FC Cincinnati, of course. That's the local team in the MLS. You know, historically, Cincinnati and Louisville were rivals during the USL days. And Cincinnati won. They ended up taking a pretty nice win in their first game of the year against Red Bull. They're definitely doing pretty well for FC Cincinnati. Pretty nice win. So we're going to head into our next destination shortly. And we're going to talk about the Tennessee's largest city and its capital, Nashville, Tennessee. Is the 21st most populous city in the country with 689,000 people in 2020. And it's the 4th most populous city in the Southeast but this is part of the Nashville metro area, and it's one of the fast growing in the country. And its metro area is at a shocking 2 million people. It's named after Francis Nash, a general in the Continental Army during the American Revolution. It was founded in 1779 while it was still part of North Carolina, and it grew due to its strategic location as a port on the Cumberland River, as well as a railroad center. Nashville was taken in 1862, being the first state capital of the Confederacy taken over by Union forces, and it reclaimed its stature during the 20th century for trade and manufacturing. However, Nashville really grew, with not industry or trade, but culture, actually. You see, Nashville is known as the Athens of the South due to education, with educational universities like Tennessee State, and most well-known Vanderbilt University, the world famous private institution in the city. It's also got, of course, the sports teams, the Nashville Predators, Tennessee Titans, Nashville Soccer Club. And of course, but most importantly at all, Tennessee is a center of music. After all, entertainment and performing arts is where Tennessee really grew. It is today, thanks to its country music heritage. After all, the Music City is literally its nickname, home to many famous attractions, including the Country Music Hall of Fame Museum, Belcourt Theater, and the world famous Ryman Auditorium, which once hosted the Grand Ole Opry from 1943 to 1974. Of course, there are many music clubs and bars in Nashville, Tennessee. And it even has its own music festival for country music. It was even home to a television show that talks about country, Yeehaw, and Pop Goes the Country as well. We're also held here. But you'd be surprised, but Nashville also has jazz bands in the past, and gospel music. And of course, Nashville is a big increasing tourist destination, which music is the big thing is music. But also history too, mainly with the Battle of Nashville, Battle of Franklin, and the historic Belle Meade Plantation, which was controlled by the Harding-Jackson family, as well as centers and museums such as the Johnny Cash Museum, Tennessee State Museum, and the full-scale replica of the Parthenon. Yes, they had a full-scale replica. And it's very popular for our bachelor and bachelorette parties. So yes, Nashville is a city with rich heritage and history. Also the state capital. And the reason why Nashville grew to where it is today and why it grew so much is because this is a very, very busy. It's because a lot of because Tennessee is very friendly for business and stuff and job growth. That's why a lot of people move to Nashville. In terms of sports, they have They have four professional franchises, three at the highest professional level, and then one minor league team, the Nashville Sounds minor league baseball. The Titans actually moved the newest team is Nashville Soccer Club, which came in 2020, which is pretty cool. They play at Geodis Park, which has 30,000 people. Very nice venue. But of course, Nashville baseball's got a long history. Haven't been around for decades. Baseball's been around Nashville for decades, from minor league level. The Tennessee Titans only came to Tennessee to Nashville in 1997, where they played at Vanderbilt Stadium. So yes. And of course, college sports, the big college sport in the city is Vanderbilt, a very prestigious private school. Founded by the Vanderbilt family, hence the name. But there's also Belmont, Tennessee State, and Lipscomb are also other collegiate athletics programs here in the city. Of course, nowadays, Nashville has also got a very fast-growing airport, Nashville International, which is one of the fast-growing airports in the country. it's getting to be extremely busy. It's now become a operating base for our Legion in Southwest, and it's really grown. Just as many people moved to Nashville, this airport really grew. Last year was a record year in Nashville. 24 million people passengers flew in and out of Nashville. For that perspective, just 10 years earlier was 11 million, which is insane. That's basically more than double. And if you go back to 2000, it's probably more than triple. Nashville International flies to all over the place, not just U.S. destinations. This airport's starting to now fly international stuff too. Dublin, Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, London Heathrow, Reykjavik is now a brand new destination. Cancun, Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg are all new international destinations, which is crazy to think about. This wasn't that big of an airport all those years ago. Grown into a massively busy. Yes, Nashville, absolutely. It is a very fast-growing city. We'll fly all around Nashville when we get there. We'll do plenty of exploring here in the Music City. We'll check out the Grand Ole Opry sites, and then we'll move our way through Cumberland River. We'll make our way through. We'll take pictures of the skyline here. Go through Nissan Stadium and the skyline, and eventually make our way over to the state capitol, which I put on the map. Now, of course, the last time I've been to Nashville and the last time I've been to the city was 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I went to Nashville for a week in there, and I got to watch the Nashville Predators hockey team. Really cool. And oh, speaking of which, bot. They're stupid bots. If you wonder why I don't like bots, why? Go ahead and disable the autopilot, the ferry. Here's the Grand Ole Opry venue. This here is the Grand Ole Opry complex. This is one of the meccas of country music, the Grand Ole Opry. If you get a chance to go there, definitely take advantage of the opportunity because obviously learn about country music. And now we're flying to Nashville. No worries, Typhon. No worries. Like I said, if you have struggle, I can do it too. So once we explore Nashville and check out the city for a bit, we're going to head our way over to Beach River Regional. Here, guys, is the city of Nashville, Tennessee. Big old Nashville. This city has grown immensely. It's grown immensely since the sim was added. The sim got data from 2014. Hey, Bossman, good to see ya. It's been a while since I've seen you on my chat. I hope you're doing well, my dude. Good to see you, Bossman. Let me go ahead and give him a shout out for Bossman Gaming. Um, so we're actually here in beautiful Tennessee today. We're in Nashville right now, the Music City, as they call it here. And we're doing the 50 States of 50 Part 16 here in Tennessee. So I'm doing very good, thank you, my dude. So if you're not aware, this is my stream this week, my only stream of the week. It's the only stream this week here. I have a vacation going on. I'm going to be out of town tomorrow, so we're in Tennessee. So if you aren't aware about Nashville, Bossman, this is the capital largest city in Tennessee, and it's world famous for its music, hospitality, and its history too. A lot of people forget how historic the city of Nashville. And fly over the city. That is downtown Nashville. There is Bridgestone Arena, home of the Nashville Predators, probably considered by some to be the best fans in the NHL, and I kind of agree. I've been to a Predators game. They're very loud and very crazy hockey fans. Yes, the people in Nashville love their hockey, funnily enough. Despite being a southern U.S. state, they love hockey. There's the Country Music Hall of Fame here, too. There's there's the building of the right there's the state capitol. This here is the state capitol. Tons of stuff here. Oh no, so okay. So the reason I did this is because the DC-3, when you put on the flaps and stuff, um, when you put the flaps up, this thing gets really loud. So the reason I didn't have any sim sound before is because, with this being very loud and stuff, so all this stuff is Broadway Music Street. Now, of course, all this stuff here, a lot of this is music. Lots of live music venues here in Nashville. Tons of them here in this city. I go ahead and fly that way, and I think we'll pay a visit to the Parthenon very soon. Yeah. Really cool stuff. Nashville is definitely a great city. It's grown so much. Maybe it's grown too much. Some people may say Nashville's grown too much since because so many people like to come here because it's business. And there's Vanderbilt University, guys. There's Vandy. Go Commodore. Oh yeah, and here's one more thing too. There's the full-scale Parthenon replica. That is the Nashville Parthenon, a full-scale replica of the one in Athens. Yes, they actually built a real-life Parthenon here in Nashville, Tennessee. Go ahead and put back in this direction. So that just leaves us Nashville, Tennessee. We're now going. And we're now going to head our way to our second stop at Beach Rivers. Go ahead. Make our way there. Back in the right direction. Let's look at our fuel capacity. Left main and right mains are both looking really good. So both the main stuff are looking good. We're going to continue this way for another 75 nautical miles to second stop, Kilo Papa Victor Charlie. Continue this way, Dylan. There's plenty to talk about in terms of Nashville's economy and such. Talk about section now. Also, in addition to my other stuff, I've been working on the All Countries series this week. I'm about to finish part 1. Got a little bit left of Armenia, and I do the whole thing of Australia and Austria to complete the first part. I am getting through this. So we're going to go ahead and talk about Tennessee's economy. So overall in Tennessee, the gross state is 418 billion US dollars. 8.20 per capita is 30,000. So it's about 13% below the poverty line. In terms of agriculture, Tennessee actually has the 8th most farms in the nation, which cover more than 40% of the land area here. Tennessee, which cover more than cash receipts for crops livestock have an annual value of $3.5 billion, and the agriculture sector has estimated $81 billion on the state economy. Its largest commodity is beef cattle, followed by broilers and poultry. Tennessee ranks 12th in the nation for number of cattle, with half of the farmland dedicated to cattle grazing. Soybeans and corn are the first, second most common crops respectively in Tennessee, and are most heavily grown in West and Middle Tennessee, especially the northwestern state. Tennessee also ranks 7th in cotton production, which grows in the forest soils of central West Tennessee. It's also the 4th ranking producer in the country for tobacco, which is grown in the Ridge Valley region. And Tennessee farmers are known worldwide for their cultivation of tomatoes and horticultural plants. Other cash crops include hay, eggs, gnat breeding. And of course, a lot of this area is for horses too. The Tennessee walking horse is one of the world's most recognized horse breeds. And they like the grass that's produced in the national basin. And also, timber industry is one of the top producers of hardwood nationwide, especially in the Cumberland Plateau. Nowadays, industry is a bigger deal. It didn't used to be that way. Until World War II, most southern states were agrarian. However, Chattanooga was one of the first industrial cities in the South after the Civil War. But most of its growth came during the Tennessee Valley Authority and helped build the state's industrial manufacturing sector. And it grew to more than 2,400 advanced manufacturing establishments. And Tennessee's largest manufacturing is its automotive industry, thanks to a Nashville's assembly plant in Smyrna, as well as GM's plant in Spring Hill and Volkswagen in Chattanooga. Ford's also constructing an assembly plant in Stanton, Tennessee, as well. The state's also one of the top producers of food and drink products, its 2nd largest sector, and chemicals as well. Like industrial chemicals, paints, pharmaceuticals, and soaps are produced here industrially in the state of Tennessee. Pretty important stuff that industry is a big deal here. So I do need them. Let me put this back in the right. And then tourism. Now nowadays, tourism's been a big deal here too. Is tourism. Tennessee is the 11th most visited state in the nation with 126 million visitors in 2019. If you gotta pick one place that most people visit in Tennessee, it is the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which we will cover in there. It is the most visited national park with more than 14 million visitors. To put this perspective, that's more than Grand Canyon, than the next 3 national parks put together, which is insane to think about. Yes. People do visit the Smoky Mountain National Park. And the park anchors the large tourism industry in nearby Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. Includes the most visited ticket attraction in the state, Dollywood, which I've been to. I want to come back. Other attractions include the Tennessee State Museum and Park in Nashville, National Civil Rights Museum in Graceland in Memphis, Lookout Mountain, Chattanooga Choo Choo Hotel, Tennessee Aquarium in Chattanooga, the American Museum of Science and Energy in Oak Ridge, the Bristol Motor Speedway, Jack Daniel's Distillery, the Hiwassee and OC Rivers in Polk County, Tennessee. There's also 4 Civil War battlefields in the state that is served by the National Park Service, including Chickamauga and Chattanooga National Military Park, Stones River, Shiloh National Military Park, and Fort Donelson National Battlefield, as well as operates several recreation areas, trails, and more, including one for the Manhattan Project. And of course, there are 8 safe byways, including the most famous byway of all, Blue Ridge Park. So yeah, Tennessee, very cool. Lots of tourism here in the state nowadays. It used to be a lot quieter, but now Tennessee's really grown tourism. And I visited many of the main tourist places, Nashville, Chattanooga, and Pigeon Forge area. Never visited the western half of the state. Yeah, we only have a few more slides left to go. We don't have too many more slides left to go. Yeah, and of course, guys, I'll keep you posted on my vacation pics in the IRL chat Discord. I'll be taking some pictures for this year's trip. So, I'll keep you guys noted for that. So I hope everyone's doing well. I know Mert's going to be on the news. So for the rest of the week, here's some of the news I do want to cover. Of course, Mert's going to be on the news, and he'll be talking about, of course, say intentions, E51 mustering in the cross carts. He'll be doing it on Wednesday. He'll be doing it later today. He'll be covering the news. However, he'll be back Friday with Dublin to provide to Dublin long haul in the Airbus A350. So he's going to definitely do that stream. Give me a pretty big one with the A350. That's going to be. Then Allison's going to be on with her historical flights sector. Wonder what's going to be this time for her next leg. So Allison's going to be on Saturday. I wonder what she's going to come up with. So she'll keep posted. But check out Allison Johnson. Mm. So, we're about to make our way down here shortly. We'll get closer and we'll get to our first lane sight of. So we'll get through Jackson, Tennessee, and then from Jackson, from Peach River to Jackson, and then to Memphis. So, Peach River Regional is going to be coming up soon. Oh yeah, there's the Beechcraft Heritage Museum in Tullahoma. preparing to get ready for the final leg of the trip. Let's go ahead and make our landing here very short. We'll just turn left. We'll make our way down the Beach River. I don't think it's that much harder. Banks of the Tennessee River. Past here is the banks of the Tennessee River. I'm going to go ahead and turn down the volume of the sim sounds because we are approaching the land here very soon, and I don't want to make anyone deaf. Farewell to the grand old lady. Yeah, when I get to Liverpool, I hope that Goodison isn't torn down just yet, because I really want to check out the stadium before it gets torn. I'm going to be heading to Liverpool. I want to check out, or at least where Goodison was. I'll have to check in a couple months. Here we go, guys. Here we go, guys. Play 2 done. So I really do enjoy this stream, guys. We only got one more leg left to go. We're gonna head to Memphis next. So we'll be in about a minute or two. We'll be heading our way to Memphis. So hey, Kev, did I miss it? No. You came here just in time. We just took a bit of a break. We're preparing for the last leg, Kev. We're heading to Memphis. Um, Here you go, Kev. We're gonna did not miss it. You actually came here in time for our second stop. We're heading to Memphis, Tennessee next, so we're gonna fly back to Memphis. We started in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, and we've now made our way up to um. No worries. We went from Gatlinburg, we went through Knoxville, then we went to Tennessee, then Nashville, and then we're now heading back to we're heading to Memphis. We're gonna do one last leg left to go for him here just in time. We're gonna head to Jackson, Tennessee first, and then we'll head our way down to Memphis. No worries, my dude. You're more than welcome to. Here we go. Off with Oh yeah, this is the Douglas DC-3. This is an old plane. I'm playing the retro version, the classic version that you typically see pilots of the era fly a lot of. They flew this version of the DC pilot. We're gonna find out in Jackson. So Jackson, Tennessee will be our next waypoint we'll fly over here. So Jackson, Tennessee is most well known for being the regional center for trade in the states. Population 60,000 people. In the antebellum era, Jackson was a major market city for the agriculture area for cotton, and at the time was a major commodity crop. Began in 1851 and became a hub of railroad systems, also connecting to the major markets north and south as well as east and west, and allowed this area to develop, especially for railroad workers after the Civil War. Throughout the 60s, trains were served by 15 passenger trains daily. However, due to industry restructuring, caused a lot of job losses, and many of them have adjusted to new businesses. Nowadays, Jackson's most well known for the site of the permanently closed International Rockabilly Hall of Fame Museum. There's also a local railroad museum and a cultural arts center. In addition to this as well, Jackson, Tennessee is now known for more industrial. That is Jackson, Tennessee. This is the Douglas DC. DC-3. This is from This is made by Airplane Heaven. This came with the anniversary edition of the 2020 simulator. But this is the plane that I actually had the most hours in of any plane in the sim. No, really. I flew an around the world trip with it back in 2023. I started in. It was round trip from Geneva. It was based off a real life around the world trip. I actually have a book up there, and that's the basis for the entire journey. We did an around the world trip with the DC-3 because I wanted to do one of those series, and that was still one of my absolute favorite series I've ever done on the channel. We went through. I think it was Geneva, Zagreb, then Zagreb over to Athens, then Athens to Tel Aviv, Jordan, through Saudi Arabia, to Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Pakistan, India, through Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand. Before going down to Kuala Lumpur, Phuket, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, Brunei, Malaysia, Philippines, China, Taiwan, Japan. Did tons of flying in there. Went up through the Aleutians, through much of Alaska, the United States, across the Atlantic through Eastern Canada, to Greenland, Iceland, and then the rest of Europe. That was such a great trip. I still have great memories. It's on my Discord, by the way. I don't know if my Discord link works. If it's not working, Kev, I can give you an I can check for an update. I disable streamer. Oh, yeah. Let me update my Discord link for a second. And I have pictures of this. That took me, in terms of my streaming stuff, um, in real life, it took about 10 months. They did it in real life. For me and my channel, considering all those times, he completed the stream. It was the final leg of it. It took us a long, long time. And I did those on Sundays, too. And it was the final legs after 10 months. It took us 10 months to get it done. I started New Year's Day 2023. And it ended on Sunday of that year. It ended like around November. November 6th. So I ended it on November 12th, from New Year's 2023 to November 12th. Over 10 months. Yeah, I did it every Sunday that I was allowed to stream. We did lots of legs. Some of these days I did multiple ones too. Yeah. I did that. That was a lot of fun. But I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with this series too. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I did it every Sunday. But I had a great time. Yep, I did. But that was not the first historical journey I did. I did one previously in 2022 with the 1926 Berlin Beijing flight. That was the first historical series I've ever done on the channel. I took the G-52 since they didn't have the plane back in the day, and we went through Berlin to Beijing. We had to go through Russia, which was pretty cool. We got to learn a lot about Russia on that journey. But like I said, I enjoy all the journeys I've taken. So, pretty cool stuff. I did do an all countries trip previously, which was around the world. However, I discontinued it for MSFS 2024. Plus, I'm going to be doing a brand new one for the new sim. And I wanted to redo it for the brand new sim that's going to come out, which is this one. And I'm also going to revamp it as well. Not going to be, instead of, the previous one I did was just a continuous trip, which would have taken a long time. So instead, I wanted to now do it for an around the world trip. But I'm going to do each of the individual countries instead, which would let us fly more types of aircraft, which will give me a lot more flexibility with the planes, which I think is a good thing. The other reason that I think good is so it might be quicker. For some of these countries, it might be small, so I might do multiple countries in a day potentially, if that's what I really wanted. Here's Jacksonton. Sure. Pretty crazy stuff. There is a lot of stuff going on my channel. Lots of great stuff. So here's Jackson. This is Jackson. Second largest city in West Tennessee after Memphis. Let's go ahead and talk about the also folks like you can say etc. I know. I don't really have much work though. If you don't know, Kev, the reason I have that schedule though, if you want me to be honest, it's because I have special needs, autism, so I don't really have a job. I would like to have a job and earn some income myself, but I can't really do that due to my special needs with autism. So I can't really work. I do have a steady schedule, but only because I can't work normally. That's a bit of my honesty. But the fact that I have a dedicated schedule, though, I am blessed with a dedicated schedule. And usually the only parts that either disrupted is either vacation, most likely vacation, or something bad happens to the sim, so I can't get there. I am definitely proud of my consistency. No worries, Kev. I think I'd be more happy to answer your question. So about Tennessee, we got to talk about its culture. And Tennessee's culture blends Southern and Appalachian flavors, which originate from its English, Scottish, Scotch-Irish, and African roots, and has evolved and grown over the years. Its grand divisions also manifested in different cultural regions, with East Tennessee being more Appalachian, Middle and West Tennessee are associated with Southern culture, or sometimes even deep Southern culture, particularly those in Memphis. Of course, Tennessee's greatest cultural contribution is its music heritage. In pop music, particularly with country music, there are many different kinds of authors and stuff, like Cormac McCarthy, James Agnew, Ida B. Wells, and Randall Gerald. Of course, the state's contribution also goes to cuisine, mainly Memphis-style barbecue, which is dry rub, Nashville hot chicken, and Tennessee whiskey. But of course, its biggest contribution to culture is music. Tennessee played an important role in many forms of American popular music, like blues, country, rock and roll, rockabilly, soul, bluegrass, contemporary Christian, and gospel music. Of course, the epicenter of the blues is none other than Beale Street in Memphis, with musicians like W.C. Handy performing in clubs as early as 1909. And it was historically home to Sun Records, where many musicians like Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Roy Orbison, and Troy Rich began their recording careers. Rock and roll took shape in the 1950s. Stax Records became known for Memphis soul music in the late 50s and 60s. Of course, Nashville is country music. Grand Ole Opry. Country music. The Grand Ole Opry still remains the nation's longest running radio show. And you can find lots of museums and historic sites that's all about music. From Sun Studio, Memphis Rock and Soul Museum, and the Blues Hall of Fame in Memphis, to Nashville's Ryman Auditorium, Country Music Hall of Fame Museum, Musicians Hall of Fame Museum, and Music Row. Then other states have museums as well. Allow Nashville to be an absolute stud when it comes to music. Makes Nashville really a wonderful place for music lovers. That's why a lot of people visit Tennessee in the first place, is music. In terms of transportation, Tennessee is overseen by the Tennessee Department of Transportation, and it's one of 5 states with no transportation-related debts. Tennessee has 96,000 miles of roads. 14,000 of those are maintained by the state, and 1,233 miles of the highways are part of the interstate system. Interstate 40 is the longest interstate highway in Tennessee, traversing the state for 455 miles. Known as Tennessee's Main Street, serves the cities of Memphis, Nashville, and Knoxville, which runs through nearly the entire length of the state. Of course, Tennessee's home to several major airports, mainly the big 3 is Nashville, Memphis, and McGahey-Tyson in Knoxville, just outside of Knoxville. Of course, we'll get to Memphis International, which is our final stop, and Memphis is extremely important for good reason. Of course, there's also lots of GA airports in the states. And finally, historically, Tennessee used to be a pretty big deal for railroads, especially Nashville. And finally, the last main slide to talk about Tennessee is sports are a deal here in the state. It's got a well good mix of collegiate and professional sports dot the line of the state. Tennessee's home to 4 professional sports franchises represented in all 4 of the major sports leagues. The Tennessee Titans, Nashville's home to 3 of them, the Tennessee Titans of the NFL, the Nashville Predators in National Hockey League, and Nashville Soccer Club here as well. But also, Memphis is home to a major league team, the Memphis Grizzlies, since 2001, relocated from Vancouver, where they were once the Vancouver Grizzlies. Of course, in addition to professional sports, there's minor league clubs, with minor league baseball clubs in Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, and Chattanooga. And I visited Chattanooga during my time there. But of course, it's also home to 12 Division I programs in the state, and 4 compete at the top level of college football. Of course, I mentioned about the Tennessee Volunteers when we flew over to Knoxville, but there was also Vanderbilt as well, and Nashville, and they both play in the same conference. Then in Memphis, we'll visit the Memphis Tigers, the American Athletic Conference, and finally in Murfreesboro, you have the Middle Tennessee Raiders. They play there as well. In addition, there's also some FCS programs, include Belmont Bruins, Tennessee State Tigers, and the Lipscomb Bisons. And finally, of course, you also have Chattanooga Mocs, most famous for being the place where Terrell Owens played college football. E.O. And what a character he was. And finally, Tennessee's also home to one of the most important motor speedways in Bristol. More than 160,000 people gate. There's also the Nashville Super Speedway, which is returned back to NASCAR. So yes, it has a bit of racing heritage in that tip. Oh yeah, and fun enough about Bristol. Bristol also hosted an American football game. It hosted 2 of them, including the one in the Battle of Bristol between Tennessee and Virginia Tech in 2016. And it had a record capacity of 156,000 people. 156,000. That's the record for most in a college football game. Absolutely insane to even play in a football season. Oh yeah, and apparently Major League Baseball is going to have a game here too this season. The Braves and Reds are going to be playing here as well. First time baseball's ever played in a NASCAR stadium, and that's going to shatter the baseball attendance record, which will break a record for 115,000 in 2008. It will shatter the record. And I think it could very well did it. If they could host a football game with 150,000, I think they could definitely break the record. It's going to shatter that record. So, and then finally, of course, here are some fun facts about Tennessee. The Copper Basin is so different from the area that it's recognized by American astronauts. And it's caused by a lot of the 19th mining practices here. Next is Reelfoot Lake, which is reputed to be the turtle capital of the world due to the fact that it's home to thousands of different turtles of different species, from sliders to stink pots, mud, and map turtle. Then, of course, Memphis's Graceland, which is Elvis's personal home, is the second most visited house in the country. And of course, you guys all probably know about the Elvis Presley. We know Graceland's most visited, but the second most visited, of course, is the White House. Only the White House is more visited than Graceland. Greenville, Tennessee's home to the only monument in the United States honoring both Union and Confederate armies, the Green County White Courthouse. And of course, the National Civil Rights Movement is actually located at the Lorraine Motel. And that was where MLK was assassinated in 1968. Instead of tearing it down, they converted the motel to a museum, which talks about the history of the Civil Rights Movement. And finally, of course, if you're a sports fan, you probably know this fact. The most lopsided American football game ever happened in the state of Tennessee when Cumberland University in Lebanon lost to Georgia Tech on October 7th, 1960 by a score of, get this, 222-0. No, this is not NCAA football 25 numbers. No, this actually happened in a real college football game over 100 years ago. So, and finally, for some notable people, there are a lot of notable people from Tennessee. James Agnew, famous poet from Knoxville. Iconic guitarist Chet Atkins from Luttrell. Frontiersman Davy Crockett from Greene County. First American Admiral David G. Farragut from Knoxville. Tennessee Ernie Ford from Bristol. How about actor Morgan Freeman from Memphis, Tennessee, and alongside him, of course, Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul herself, also born from Memphis. And then, of course, another famous singer, the Queen of Country, Dolly Parton, from Seaverville. And she helped grow the Pigeon Forge area to what it was today. Comedian Minnie Pearl from Centerville. Sports writer Grant Weiss from Murfreesboro. Iconic pop singer Tina Turner from Brownsville, and finally World War I hero Alvin York from Pall Mall, Tennessee. And that wraps up some of the most famous people of Tennessee. So guys, we're not far from our final stop here in Memphis. So I hope you all enjoyed the stream, guys. I hope you enjoy all of it. This has been a lot of fun. Yes, this is indeed MSFS 2024. Absolutely. So, yes, this is indeed MSFS 2024. No, it's not because of a stream title, it's because it actually is MS. You can tell because of the tablet. One of the easiest ways you can tell this is the new sim and not the original 2020. It is indeed. So now let's go ahead and talk about Memphis, Tennessee, our final stop of the day. So Memphis. It's Tennessee's second most populous city with 633,000 people. It's the fifth most populous city in the southeast United States. Its metro area is at 1.3 million people. Memphis is one of the most significant and culturally important cities in the southern United States thanks to its landscapes and distinct neighborhoods, as well as its history. The first explorer to visit this area was Hernando de Soto in 1541. However, Memphis was founded in 1819. And it was founded by John Overton, James Winchester, Andrew Jackson. And it grew to one of the largest cities in the Antebellum South due to its cotton plantation and river traffic on the Mississippi River. After the end of the Civil War and slavery, the city continued to grow in the 20th century and at one point was among the world's largest markets for cotton and hardwood. But of course, Memphis played a huge role in the prominent American civil rights movement. After all, MLK was assassinated there in 1968 after activities supporting striking the city's maintenance workers and areas the national civil rights movement. In addition to the civil rights era, Memphis is now one of the nation's leading commercial centers in transportation and logistics, thanks to its city's largest employer, FedEx, which also operates its global air hub at Memphis International. Also a center for media and entertainment, especially its music scene. I know people talk about Nashville as a music city, but Memphis is not far behind after all. After all, the blues really gained popularity here in Beale Street. Unique Memphis blues. That's why it's known as the home of the blues. It also nowadays continues to be shaped by country, rock and roll, soul, and hip hop. Of course, Memphis is also well known for its food. It's Memphis style barbecue. One of the 4 predominant regional styles of barbecue in the U.S., known for its high rub. Also, in addition to barbecue, there's also fried chicken. Is also popular here too. In Memphis is home to the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest. Lots of barbecue. Of course, for tourism, one of the most important places to visit is Graceland, which is the house of Elvis. And basically, this building here. Oh, really? Oh, really? That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know about that, Kev. That's cool. Yeah, Memphis gets really busy with cargo stuff at night, just like Louisville. And by the way, Kev, I near Louisville International, so I know about cargo hubs. So I don't live far from there. But Graceland, because Elvis's home built in 1939. But Elvis actually purchased it in 1956, and it's grown a lot. There was attention for foreclosure, but thankfully, it's not foreclosure anymore. But it's a really cool house. In addition to this as well, of course, there's a lot of stuff to visit for tourism. He even has his own plane. His own Conquer 880 is also around the grounds, too. Yeah, I can understand why Memphis doesn't enamor her nearly as much. Sadly, though, Memphis is one of the worst crime rates in dangerous cities in the United States, which is a shame because it's a culturally rich city. It's very much rich in culture and music, but it is not safe. In fact, even New York City has less homicide counts total than Memphis. And that's why it's caused a lot of issues, sadly. So, of course, our final stop is, of course, the massive Memphis International Airport. This Airport is the world's busiest cargo airport. Of course, while many people knew this as a commercial airport, it became the FedEx Global Hub in 1979. It grew as a cargo hub. FedEx could fly destinations from around the world, not just the United States, but it flies to Canada, Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and South America out of Memphis. And it started just as a little airport in Memphis in 1929. And they fly this all across the world. Just like at Louisville International. They fly this cargo stuff out of this airport. Memphis International really. It's very similar to that of Louisville International as well. And that's why I know about cargo hubs, considering I flew into Louisville. And it's for the same reason why Louisville was the UPS's hub, and the reason why is Memphis' central location. Probably even more westward, and basically can fly to much of the United States within 3 hours. So pretty much all of continental United States in 3 hours. Pretty impressive. So that's officially it. That will cover all of Tennessee. Yeah, it's sad. It is. Sometimes criminals target pilots who leave in Memphis. Yeah. That is why. Which is sad to think, because like I said, Memphis, rich history, lots of culture, especially with music and all that. Like I said, it is sad. So here we go, guys. Memphis, Tennessee. I'm gonna fly over downtown Memphis. We'll check out Graceland too. Yes, the reason I'm talking about Graceland is my mom's a big Elvis Presley fan. She's a huge Elvis fan. Of course. Now, of course, in Graceland, they did lock me upstairs of the Graceland for obvious reason. Because, think of all the reason why they would lock the upstairs of Elvis's Graceland. What do you think? Because Elvis died up there. They don't want people up there. Or else people spend their time only coming here to see the back. Which I understand from the Elvis family, I understand. But it would not be good public image for them. Trim. Oh yeah, and by the way, I also post all my screenshots here on Discord too. If you want to keep track of my screenshots, I post them here in my Discord too. Yes. Yes, I don't disagree with you. Sadly, it is. Yes, I do. So here, funny story about the pyramid here in Memphis. See that pyramid here? Before the Memphis period became a Bass Pro Shop, this used to be a concert event arena. And it was built for concerts and music events. And then, of course, it was also the home of the Memphis Grizzlies for a couple years and Memphis basketball until they moved to the present-day FedEx Forum, which is right here. Here's the modern FedEx Forum, home of the Memphis Grizzlies. Yes, Memphis is one of the most unlikely cities to have a professional sports franchise. And you know what gets weird about Memphis too? Some people don't know about this. Memphis, at one point, did have an NFL team, the Tennessee Oilers, which would become the Tennessee Titans. They actually played their first season here in Memphis. They played at the Liberty Bowl. Unfortunately, attendance in Memphis was absolutely abysmal. So it was a complete failure of NFL football in Memphis, Tennessee. Let's pay a visit to Grace. But yes, there's definitely a lot of things in Graceland to cover. Of course, you could do group tours. You could visit. Even there's even an excursion you could do in Memphis that takes you straight to a day trip to Tupelo, where Elvis was born. And trust me, we will be visiting Mississippi um, during our trip. In fact, it won't be too much longer. Oh yeah, it'll be the next week we come back. We'll be visiting Tupelo, where Elvis was. Visit Elvis's birthplace. Yes, because people love Elvis. Let's not forget Elvis Presley. Back to do it for the morning. Elvis has left the building. Oh, Elvis. Yeah, one of the most iconic music artists ever in history. Oh yeah, and Elvis has his airplanes. Yes. So Elvis actually has his airplanes. He's actually owned a couple of them during his time. But of course, with all of his jets, of course, he has two of them in the property. He has his smaller Lockheed Jetstar, which is yellow and green. And then, of course, the most well known is his Convair 880. He purchased it in 1975, named it the Lisa Marie. You get to visit the jet for his living room, conference room, private bedroom, sitting room, as well as gold-plated suede chairs, liver-covered tables, 24-karat gold flex sinks, and more. You get to learn all about them, and you can tour the jets too. Graceland, that's going to be coming right above us, actually. And yeah, there is Graceland below us. The legendary Graceland. Let's get down a little lower. Check out America's second most visited house. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, it's Tennessee. You can't come to Memphis without visiting Graceland. Like saying you don't want to come to Nashville, but don't want to check out the music scene. Or visiting Ireland without checking out Guinness. Or coming to Ireland and never visiting Blarney Castle. Yep. There is Graceland. Yep. Here it is, Graceland. And there's his jets. Lucky Jetstar, and here's his big Convair. And yes, by the way, if you guys want to check them out, I do have my Discord. I'll post these pictures later today, and we'll be making our way down to checking out the place. So we're going to land here in Memphis International. And I think we're going to land runway 09. We're going to land here today. Yeah, this is a massive cargo hub. So I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I had a lot of fun here today. Volume. And we're going to prepare for a landing here in beautiful Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis. But yeah, I have a lot of wishing you a smooth landing. No worries, Kev. We'll make a smooth landing here in Memphis. Ah, perfect landing. Negative 109. That's perfect. And we can go ahead and press here. Guys, we've officially made it to Memphis, and that wraps up our trip for today, guys. This was a fantastic stream here as well. So we'll be returning back March 12th. We'll be doing our special Premier League stream. We're going to start this one at 1400 Zulu. This should give us plenty of time to do all the Premier League venues and stuff. So we'll see you guys soon. I think we're going to rate our good friend Boozy Sheep. He's currently doing the Airbus A350, which just came out, which is going to be amazing. And guys, I hope to see you all again soon. I'm going to have a great vacation. So I hope to see you all again there. I'm going to have a great vacation. Thank you guys so much for the words, and see you all soon. Take care, everyone, and have a great couple of weeks. Goodbye, everyone.